Lil Baby has just been sentenced to 3 years in prison after a massive fight with Lil Durk behind bars. An altercation that wasn't just physical, but symbolic of a deeper betrayal and chaos between two former brothers in arms, all of which unraveled after Durk snitched and fake evidence was exposed. This story has levels. It's not just about a prison brawl. It's about a fall from grace, a brotherhood that shattered, a betrayal that echoes through every verse they've ever recorded, a quiet war that started behind closed doors and exploded inside a federal prison, putting two of the biggest names in hip-hop, Lil Baby and Lil Durk, on opposite sides of the same steel bars. And now, with Lil Baby handed down a 3-year sentence for what officials are calling a violent correctional disturbance, the entire rap game is left wondering, how did it get to this point? To understand this moment, you have to go back to when Durk and Baby were running side by side, delivering bangers, feeding the streets with anthems, and presenting themselves as the perfect blend of Atlanta and Chicago hustle. Voice of the Heroes wasn't just a project. It was a manifesto. These were two street-savvy young men turned moguls, talking their pain, their loyalty, their codes. And to the outside world, they were untouchable. But somewhere along the line, trust started to erode. And it all came crashing down when Lil Durk, in a desperate attempt to avoid prison, allegedly snitched, not just on enemies, but on Baby himself. Durk, trying to weasel out of federal charges, was said to have provided falsified evidence against Lil Baby in a behind-the-scenes deal that not only backfired, but sent both artists spiraling into deeper legal chaos. As soon as the system sniffed out the lies, Durk was dragged back into custody, and the whole house of cards began to collapse. For Lil Baby, the betrayal hit deep. This wasn't just some label mate or industry peer. This was family. This was a guy who stood beside him in interviews, music videos, and back-to-back hits. And now, he was watching it all unravel from behind bars, hearing whispers in the hallway about how Durk tried to cut a deal with his name on the dotted line. And then came the fight. Sources inside the correctional facility where both rappers were held say tensions had been simmering for weeks. Baby, already fuming about being dragged into a case based on lies, had been avoiding Durk entirely. Guards noted increased separation between the two, requests to keep them in different areas, minimal eye contact during yard time. But in jail, walls don't protect you from energy. That kind of betrayal sits in the air. And it was only a matter of time before it boiled over. Eyewitness accounts from fellow inmates say it happened in the rec room. No guards present at the moment. Durk approached Baby, possibly to squash it, possibly to justify himself. What was said, no one knows for sure. But the next second, blows were exchanged. Hard, real, not staged, not for clout. One of the guards later described it as a full-on brawl, like these boys have been holding in hell for months. What's worse is that Baby didn't stop. Reports suggest that even after Durk was restrained, Baby kept coming, breaking through the weak barrier of prison officials and landing more shots. One source said, "You could tell it wasn't about proving strength. It was personal." This man felt betrayed to his core. The aftermath was swift. Lil Durk was left with injuries that required treatment, bruises, swelling, a busted lip. Baby, meanwhile, was thrown into solitary confinement and placed under disciplinary review. That's when the next bomb dropped. The court reopened Baby's file, because while he was already facing pressure from the earlier fake accusations, the assault inside a federal facility, especially against a known cooperator, was a serious offense. Prosecutors framed it as a violent act against an informant. And while Baby's team tried to argue emotional distress, betrayal, and provocation, the system didn't care. Last week, the ruling came down. 3 years. No parole. No early release. Baby would be finishing his time behind bars. Not because of what Durk claimed he did, but because of how he responded to betrayal. And just like that, the tide shifted. Fans were outraged. Some blamed Durk outright. Others felt heartbreak for Baby, who many see as the real victim. On social media, the split was clear. Team Baby flooded timelines with Free Baby hashtags, tributes, and throwbacks. Meanwhile, Durk's name became synonymous with snake emojis and silence. His fan base shrunk. His comments got turned off. Even his inner circle, Rappers he used to tour with, producers he called brothers, began pulling back, not saying much, not defending him. This entire saga, from snitching to solitary, has become a modern Greek tragedy told in trap beats and mugshots. Let's be honest. Baby didn't have to throw hands. He could have let it ride. Could have let the lawyers handle it. Could have waited until he got out and told his truth through a diss track or a documentary. But that's not what happened. What happened was real. He felt violated, lied on. And when that moment came, when the person who once